At the bottom of the page, Lamed Beis. Yeah.
Okay, so in on Friday's class, you explained the difference between nishmasa and nishmasa, and so for nishmasa, it was sort of explained it as that, for example, the head being higher than the heart, that has a real significance. It's not just a functional. It's not just happens to be, but that there's a real. The nishmasa aspect is that there's a real significance to everything. For example, in the body or yeah.
All right. I just want to make sure that we don't. That is a symptom of nishmasa. Nishmasa means it gives life to everything.
The fact that the finger is going to heal because it must be whole. The neshama basically says that I'm here, so I'm in the body. The body must be a fitting keli.
From our perspective, from Seichel, the way we identify it is when you see that there's inadvertent things, and then there is must be. But the Ayin from Nishmosa is not. This is the Chitzonius element. You know, I'm saying this is the.
Okay, so no, I don't. Go, I'm listening. What does that mean that it's only Chitzonius?
Okay. Chitzonius and Pnimius, in terms of our comprehension, means Chitzonius is that we understand in relation to something else.
Mm-hmm.
Pnimius is when we're able to focus in on the significance of that element itself.
Okay, so
So this must be versus that's a precarious existence. This is the versus. This is the relative comparison. But what is nishmosa? Why does nishmosa have the element of must be? Nishmosa is life, is a living element. Life means it represents a fundamental reality truth. It is not a structured presence. It is not a presence on the relative level, but on the absolute level. Fuck my phone again?
I think and then someone's coming into the conference. Okay,
go ahead. Okay.
So then you explain nishmasa and nishmasa with the example of that if you asked a human being to crawl on all fours, he'd still be able to get around, but that there's some element that says no, it cannot be like that. A human being has to walk. I didn't understand
what is
the difference between these two.
Okay, because we're talking only in relative terms.
Okay.
In everything, in all madrigas, except in Nishmosa and Nishmosa, there is a consequence. If this would be absent, then there's the consequence. There will be a consequence, and therefore this is there in order to forestall that consequence. Nishmosa v'nishmosa is not based on consequence. It's not to forestall any kind of negative consequence.
what would be the consequence for the nishmasa?
Well, you said if your finger is cut, if there is no nishmasa, then it would stay cut. And if that's on the negative side. On the positive side is that there is in the finger an element of chayes, an element of reality rather than just precarious structure.
And nishmasa
is the overall, the remote truth that initiates, that says there is such a thing as truth. In these words may have meaning to you, what I said just now?
Yeah, a little bit, yeah.
A little bit? One of the primary senses that a person has is not this is true, this is not true, this is good, this is not good. There is something superior to all that. The sense that there is such a thing as truth is more significant, more defined, more characteristic of the human being than everything else that we understand. The most damaging thought is the question, is there such thing as a truth? The reason I'm saying the most damaging, it is in fact most damaging, and it takes away all fires. And the point is that this is not something that you can retrieve. This is beyond functioning conscious. This simply says, are you a human being or you're not a human being? It's not something that you can learn about. You can learn, you can prove to yourself, no, there is. It's something that you have to state, yes, there is. That's the only answer to it. This is on par, as we speak all the time. But the Rambam says, this is something which is synonymous with being a human being. Before you begin to function and think and figure things out.
Back to that example about the human being crawling on the.
Okay, so the point of that example.
Yeah.
Okay. The point of the example is to call your attention just to one point. Functionally, you can satisfy the human activity in all kinds of different ways. There is not a single way how we can accomplish it. As an example, you can fall on both and on four. In other words, if the feet are for walking, you can accomplish it in many different ways.
That wouldn't offend the principle of nishmasa?
Right. That would not necessarily offend the principle of nishmasa. Because nishmasa means you have to be able to get someplace. So you're able to get there. together specifically in a human way, not something else would do.
I'm sorry. When the Shemasa says that everything a person does, he does as a human being. He eats like a human. This is what Chachma defines on every level, or Chachma makes available so that it can be defined on every level. That what is a human activity on every level. So it's not just enough to just get there, right? You have to get there like a human being.
Because we are speaking after the fact that the Nishmosa has defined a human being. But all human activities, like we're saying, you're going to work, you know what you're doing, why you're doing, what are you? Within the parameters of human activity, everything can be substituted by any other way. The principle that this has to be a human being, it cannot be any other thing. This is Nishmos of Nishmos. There is not anything in the human being himself that demands it. This Indian that we said that it trickles down to all the countries. This is the Indian that the ultimate truth is because there is a truth, not because this is true. As a result of that, the neshama trickles down into every part.
It's sort of hard to talk about the neshama divorced from, because when you're talking about the neshama, just the level of nishmasa, it's already a human neshama, right? It's a human neshama which demands that the body be reflective of the human neshama.
The body can be reflective of the human neshama by being able to house the neshama and being able to understand things that the neshama is teaching you. Even in Seichel, they say that there is the oineg in everything. There is the oineg in what the Seichel understands, and there is the oineg in the principle that I have Seichel. This is prior to Seichel. You know what I'm saying? The motivation, this precedes Seichel.
So the neshama would be like the oineg that's in the content of the seichel?
Right.
This is like what it's teaching.
Exactly right. So Chochmah has content, but there is neshama to this content. When you say that you're going to eat like a human being, so you are defining a means, a manner of activity, which again, talking about consequence. The proper way to eat. Which already relates to content, as we say.
But the nishmasa and nishmasa will also demand that a person eats like a human being, or not?
No, nishmasa is nishmasa. States that for no reason whatsoever, you are a human being. Not because of any consequence. not because of your difference from an animal. Like we said, it's like nishmosa and nishmosa. You respect the stone from which you choose. Stone? It's not insulting. The insult relates to the absolute reality.
So that example of the going up this of the
Right.
ramp, that's
Right.
more this muscle and
Right.
this muscle.
This is just what? What is it about? I can mention that the Rebbe says that the cobblestone screams at you, by what right are you stepping on me? Stone? It's an ornament. The earth allows us to step on it. It allows us to step on it. We don't step on it because we want to. Because the earth is inadvertent, is insignificant. No, the earth allows us to step on it. Because the earth is also a participant in the overall reality.
Are you saying then that this muscle and this muscle contains details? In other words, if
No. On the contrary, they contain detail. There may be a difference between a human being and a stone. This is how we can identify.
right, okay.
Not at all. Nishmosa and nishmosa, we said over here, which is like Ria in a boss. The physical eye doesn't know what it sees. The mind's eye knows what it sees. It sees because everything in the physical does know what it sees.
Somehow there's just the element that there is a truth,
Autism.
and then all these things that you're pointing out are just showing that on whatever level you look, there's the aspect that there's a must be.
There is such a thing as truth. That's why down the line there are differences.
But the fact that truth takes different forms and stuff like that,
That's
that
below.
will all, that's the way it filters down.
That they from the Like I said, a stone does not sense its embarrassment. So who are you embarrassing?
The overall truth. The overall truth is offended.
That's right. In our life, in our halachas and Shulchan Aruch, sneeze, for example, you're supposed to conduct yourself with sneeze, pardon me, in the bathroom. Who cares what's in there? It's not a mokim shel COVID. Not a place of honor. An interesting halacha, I mentioned it to you, that to show respect to another human being, it has to be in a place, in a respectable place. And yet, when you go to the higher level, to this nishmosa, it makes a difference. That reality cannot be absent.
So why does the Torah not reflect? Why is the covered then only in the Makkah? In other words,
because when you talk about human being, that's on the creative level, that's on the chokhmah level. But this is beyond that.
I'm still having trouble identifying Ishmasa, but that's a bit more topic.
Yeah. So we are saying that Torah actually is rooted in Nishmosa li Nishmosa. In Atzmos. And this is why Torah can contain mitzvah of truth. Okay, let's pursue this a little bit. The bottom line, going back slightly, the bottom line on page Lamed Beis, and this is what the Zohar is talking about when it says, Sha'amra Torah. The Torah said, Barnash, this human being, that you are prepared to create, he is going to sin before you. If you will not extend your anger for him, it's preferable for him that he not be created. So HaKadosh Baruch Hu answered to Torah, am I called Erech Apayim for naught? What is this interchange between Torah and Kudsha B'Riyah? It is known the Kavon as HaTorah, that the intent of Torah Hoyso was Hoyo Sheyumshach V'Yizgal Bechinas Erech Apayim Liyes Lichus Avenis. It is to actually to draw out and to reveal this bechina of Erech Apayim, of extension of anger. Liyes Lichus Avenis, in order to provide for the forgiveness of sin. Which means, it's not finished, but which means Torah itself was already concerned about forgiveness of sin. But we're saying that Torah is Chokhmah. Forgiveness of sin is true, is higher than Torah. And if you say that Torah itself was providing for forgiveness of sin, Slichas Avenis. Ube'emes Omra B'Yerushalmi. Really, it says in Yerushalmi, Hamoel Sheba Machzire Lemuto. that in Torah itself, there is the Oyer HaTorah, the Chochmah HaTorah, and the Oyer HaTorah. This is what guides a person and so forth. What if a person strayed off the path? If he continues to learn in Torah, he will ultimately come back. How so? If he had already misinterpreted, and he already strayed off the path, and his seichel has seen a different view, how is he going to come back? The answer is Hamoyer Sheba Machzir L'Mutav. What is Moyer? Not the oil. Moyer means the luminary, the source, the essence that is in Torah. Machzir L'Mutav. This is what brings him back to good. Hare, therefore we see there, Torah hi k'moy hatshuva. That Torah is like a tshuva. L'kshem shehatshuva machzir l'mutov. That just as tshuva brings him back to good, kach haTorah machzir l'mutov. Likewise, the Torah brings him back to the good. This is all due to the Shoresh, the source of Torah, as it is reflected in Torah. This is ultimately the inyan and the function and the purpose and the accomplishment, the effect of Luchis Shni is the second Luchis. Shenit no b'yom HaKippurim davka. That were given on Yom Kippur. Davka means that this was intentional, because the Luchas Shniyos, they contain the inyan, principally the inyan of Tshuva. V'yodua the Luchas Shniyos hem gveim v'adregim ha'luchas rishenis. Actually, it's known that the second Luchas are superior to the first, im adregim, to the first Luchas. Ukmeshek also, as the Pasuk says, "Vayagid lecho talvum is chochma b'geflayim mitushia." Let me translate. Yagid lecho, and he related to you. He told you, talvum is chochma, the concealed the chochma, b'geflayim mitushia, in double measure mitushia for helping out and for drawing out from a negative state. So in the second Luchas, there is an element, Kiflayim with the Shia, that is superior to the first Luchas. What in fact, what in fact is the supremacy in the second Luchas over the first? Shenitam Bohem, that in this second Luchas was provided Koyach Levare Birurim Kinoida. The Koyach Levare Birurim. Essentially what that means is to clear out and sort out Klipa from Gusha, Toy from Ra. The Vare Birurim, we'll get into it next time. But in principle, going back to our simple example of Chayas, that even if there is a damage, it heals. Now, the Chayas itself is Chayas. So you can rise up and saying, hey, the finger is cut, but the Chayas that's in it is not cut. The inyan that it should heal means that you actually relate to the damage. If you don't relate to the damage, it's not going to heal. So this is Birurim. Birurim means that you identify, you recognize the damage, recognize where the fault is, and where the kedusha versus the klipa is, and you get involved with the klipa, and there you can be mevare birui. To be aloof and be above the klipa, that is the madriga of luchas hashayis. Luchas acharaynos, this gives you the koyach levare birui, that even internally, even if you are inside and you get involved in the birurim, you can find your way out and be mevarer. That's a unique kind and unique concept.
Again, that's as if to say the first luchas were not nishmata.
Huh?
As if to say the first luchot were not nishmata.
Not nishmosa or nishmosa.
They were not.
Okay, we have to interrupt now, and we will continue mission tomorrow again. Have a good day. Go.
Before we said that there was only the Torah mentioned Shuvah, that this was a proof.
Right.
But now we're saying that the whole Torah itself is actually this inyan of bringing back to the pristine state.
No. Torah itself is Torah mitzvahs, but inherent in this is the koyach for that. This is Torah has that in too, with that shosh. In fact, this is where Torah represents that which is higher than Torah. But Torah is able to represent that which is higher than Torah.
But this sounds like the whole impetus for Torah, purpose, so to speak. The Torah should, like you said,
No. Well,
okay,
we have to save it for tomorrow morning.
Okay. What do I ask for? This is what we're going to do.